How deep is your trust? How profound is your faith? Let's dive into an ancient story that might make us rethink our own answers. Often, we speak of trust and faith in the context of our personal relationships, perhaps with our friends, family, or partners. But what about our relationship with the divine? What about our faith in a higher power, the trust we place in the notion of divine guidance? These are not easy questions, and the answers might be even more elusive. But, as is often the case, we might find some illumination in the wisdom of the past. Consider the story of Sarai and Abraham. If you're familiar with biblical narratives, you'll likely recognize these names. If not, don't worry. This isn't a test of your religious knowledge, but rather an exploration of trust and faith, as exemplified by these two figures from antiquity. Sarai and Abraham, two individuals whose lives are intertwined in a story that has been told and retold for thousands of years. A story that transcends religious boundaries, reaching into the core of human experience and emotion. A story that, at its heart, is about trust and faith in the face of uncertainty and adversity. Trust, you see, isn't merely about believing that someone will do what they say they will. It's about having confidence in their character, their integrity. Faith, similarly, isn't just about accepting certain spiritual truths. It's about having an unshakable belief in something greater than oneself, even when the path forward seems obscured. The story of Sarai and Abraham invites us to reflect on these concepts. It challenges us to consider the depths of our own trust, the strength of our own faith. It prompts us to ask ourselves, in the face of uncertainty, would we, like Sarai and Abraham, be able to place our trust in the divine? Now, let's journey back thousands of years to the world of Sarai and Abraham. In the bustling city of Ur, a man named Abram and a woman named Sarai started their journey, unbeknownst to them, a journey that would reshape history. Back then, they were just ordinary individuals, living within the confines of their time. Abram, later known as Abraham, was a respected member of his community. Sarai, who would become Sarah, was his beloved wife. They were an ideal couple, save for one heartbreaking reality. They were childless. In their culture, this was a significant setback. Children were seen as a divine blessing, a sign of prosperity, and crucial for carrying on family lineage. Their childlessness wasn't just a personal sorrow, it was a societal stigma. Every day, every night, their hearts echoed with the silent whispers of longing, the yearning for a child's laughter to fill their home and their lives. But the years passed by, and the echoes of their longing only grew louder. Then one day, God spoke to Abram. He made a promise, a covenant that would change everything. God told Abram that he would not only have a child, but his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Imagine that. The man who had no child was promised to become the father of a great nation. Abram and Sarai, despite their advanced age, chose to believe in this promise. They chose to trust in God's word, to hold on to the hope that one day their longing would be fulfilled. Their faith was a beacon in their life's storm, a testament to their unyielding trust in God's plan. But the promise was followed by years of silence, years of waiting. How would you react to such a test of faith? As years turned into decades, Sarai, now nearing 90, proposed a solution to Abraham, Hagar, her maidservant. Desperate for a child and feeling the weight of her barrenness, Sarai made a choice that would have lasting implications. She offered her maidservant Hagar to Abraham, hoping that through her, the promise of a great nation might be fulfilled. At first glance, this might seem like a logical solution, but it was a decision that went beyond the bounds of God's original promise. It was a shortcut, born out of impatience and despair, not faith. And so, Hagar bore Abraham a son, Ishmael. But instead of the joy Sarai expected, her decision birthed strife. The family dynamics shifted dramatically. Sarai, once the lady of the house, now found herself caught in a bitter rivalry with Hagar. And Abraham, the patriarch, was stuck in the middle, torn between his wife and his son. The birth of Ishmael was a turning point. It brought tension and conflict into Abraham's household, causing grief and strife. And yet, amidst the turmoil, Ishmael was not forgotten. He too would grow to be a great nation, as God had promised Abraham. As we reflect on this, we see the complexities of human decisions and the consequences they bear. Sarai's choice made in desperation caused ripple effects that were felt for generations. Yet, it also serves as a reminder that even in our missteps, God's plans are not thwarted. This story also shines a light on the struggle of waiting on God's timing. It's a struggle we all face in one way or another. It's so easy to rush ahead to try and force our plans into action. But Sarai and Abraham's story reminds us that God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. In the midst of all this, God had not forgotten his promise. Despite the detours and despite the delay, God's promise remained. And in due time it would be fulfilled in a way that Sarai and Abraham could never have anticipated. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, God reminded Abraham of his promise, and against all odds, Isaac was born. Abraham and Sarai, now known as Sarah, had waited a lifetime for the fulfillment of God's promise. Their faith had been tested time and again, but they held on to the hope that God would be true to his word. Finally, in their old age, when most would consider the possibility of having a child a distant dream, a miracle occurred. Sarah, well past childbearing years, conceived and gave birth to a son, Isaac. Imagine the joy that filled their hearts, the laughter that echoed through their home. Isaac, whose name means "he will laugh," was a living testament to their faith in God's promise. Their lives, once marked by barrenness and longing, were now filled with the joy of a long-awaited child. But as is often the case, joy did not come without its share of challenges. With Isaac's birth came tension, particularly between Isaac and his half-brother Ishmael, Sarah's maidservant Hagar's son. This tension, a result of the decisions Abraham and Sarah made in their impatience for God's promise, served as a reminder that our choices have consequences even when we're trying to fulfill a divine promise. However, despite the difficulties, the birth of Isaac marked a turning point in Abraham and Sarah's story. It was a testament to their faith, an affirmation of God's faithfulness, and a demonstration of his power to do the impossible. It was a beacon of hope that against all odds, God's promises will come to pass. So, as we reflect on the birth of Isaac, we're reminded that while our journey may be fraught with challenges and delays, God's promises are sure. He is faithful to fulfill his word, even when it seems impossible. We only need to trust, wait, and hold on to our faith. God's promise was fulfilled, but not without challenges. What can we learn from this? Sarai and Abraham's story is one of trust, faith, and patience, with valuable lessons for us today. Their narrative, rich with trials and triumphs, serves as a timeless testament to the power of unwavering faith and the rewards of patience. Let's journey back to the key moments we've explored together. Amidst their early years, Sarai and Abraham demonstrated a profound trust in God, even when the future seemed uncertain. They left their home, their comfort zone, to venture into the unknown, guided only by divine promise. This was their first act of faith, setting the stage for the trials to come. When we look at the testing times Sarai, Abraham, and Hagar faced, we see the strength and resilience of faith in action. Despite the social norms and pressures of their time, they chose to trust in God's promise. They made mistakes, yes, but their story reminds us that we too can find redemption and grace in our imperfections. The birth of Isaac, their long-awaited son, was not just a miracle, but a testament to divine timing. This part of their journey teaches us the virtue of patience, of waiting on God's perfect timing, even when everything seems to be against us. In essence, Sarai and Abraham's story is a mirror held up to our own lives. It reflects the reality of our trials and tribulations, our moments of doubt, and our leaps of faith. It encourages us to trust, to have faith, and to be patient, even in the face of the most challenging circumstances. As we reflect on Sarai and Abraham's journey, we're reminded that trust and faith, while tested, can lead to profound blessings. What challenges are testing your faith today, and how might their story inspire you?